October revised workshop meeting. We have an agenda in front of you that we will be following, just so that everybody who's joining us virtually knows we are socially distancing ourselves. We're face covering, and we're going to move right into the consent agenda. Under letter A, we do have a motion to approve the sponsorship of field trips that are in front of you. We have two. We have Mrs. Lowe, who put in to go to the planning counselors meeting, and then we also have a request from Tracy Hartle for a group of students to attend Clarence County Youth Leadership meeting. They meet periodically. They work on collaboration, communication, and leadership skills. In addition to that, letter B, we do have a list in front of you of a number of substitute teachers. And just keep in mind that these teachers are from the guest teacher consortium. And they're not necessarily local, but we put them in front of the board just because of the need that we have here for substitute teachers. Letter C, that's a request from the East Valley Band Booster to use the chapter here at the high school on October 26th to distribute fundraisers. And then also letter D, where we have a request from the varsity and junior high cheerleaders to use elementary cast scoring for the distribution of fundraisers as well. That's on October 23rd from 5:30 to 8. Are there any questions about the consent agenda at this time? Moving down through finance and purchase, letter A through F, we're paying the bills like we do each and every month. And on the top of page 2, we do have letter G, and that's where Grant Grasha and Grant's going to provide us with cafeteria report. Grant?
So I put the report in front of you there. We're just going to go over last year versus this year real quick, and then I attached the menu item sales detail to this as well, just to see where I took my numbers from. But overall, we were up 1,019 students for the month of September over last year. And we took it federal and state reimbursement. Student participation was a little bit lower, the 71.9, but we've seen with the new renewal program, big flux in that number. So we're doing down at elementary between breakfast and lunch, we're doing almost 600 meals a day. And at the high school, we're talking about 250. So we have a good participation rate right now. So October's numbers that I gave you in November will be a little bit better. The next 4 pages are just the POS report that I went to. That's how we're bringing in all the meals. And as you can see, it just says on the right-hand side there, it says free, and everybody's under that column, but for the first week of September, because we started this program mid-September. And then the very last page is the front of the menu. I don't have the back approved yet, so I wanted to at least do the front to give you an idea of what the layout is going to look like. We will be doing Thanksgiving dinner for the student on the 19th, which is Thursday or Friday. Final piece is that PDE and USDA have decided they are going to allow us to continue the student summer auction through June 30th. So we would go up until the last day. As soon as that is approved, we get that on the agenda and then on that. But I don't think there will be an issue with that. We put the operating days in. We're just waiting for PD to approve that. Any questions?
That's great news.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Letter H, that's a contract for Focus K-12 SIS Master License Agreement. This is the current MMS program. We reviewed this with Jeff and the Technology Committee. The school solicitor reviewed it, and the cost is only a couple $1,000 more over a 5-year period. So we are recommending that we approve this. We will make a transition in the summertime so that we get started at the beginning of the 21-22 school year. Any questions about finance and purchase before we move into personnel? Hearing none, we'll go down through personnel. Letter A is a letter of retirement from Carol Cotterman. She's a reading specialist, and she's been in the district for just over 21 years, and she's looking to retire on December 27, 2020. And with that retirement, we are asking to post that vacancy a reading specialist, Tammy Hodge, working on this currently. And with your consideration, we'll move on that quickly and hopefully get a name to the board in November.
David, you're gonna do that, you're gonna post in-house first?
Yes, well, we generally do it at the same time just because of the quick turnaround. But, you know, in-house people, they'll have, you know, first consideration. Letter C, we are looking to put on one more independent contractor for the school psychology services. Sarah Bronca, and she's recommended by Anna, and that would be to do face-to-face evaluations if we have anybody moving in the district, or a unique situation pops up where students may need an assessment one way or the other. Letter D, we did accept a letter of resignation from Jessica Jordan. She's the girls golf coach, and that was dated on October 12th. The packet, and then we also have down an advertisement for the position. And I'm not sure if we want to advertise now or if we want to wait. It's the year that's up to the board, and I wanted to give some discussion notes for you with that.
It's always hard to find, so I think we should start
Start
again.
now. Sounds good. And then we can re-advertise it if we need to. And then letter F, we do have a request from the part-time cafeteria worker to take on changes. Any further discussion about personnel before we move down to the policy? We'll come back to the instructional services during the board meeting, and under policy, we do have a number of policies in front of you. We'll start with 916 volunteers. This policy was created by updated in 16, and again, we added a few additions to it. On page 2, it distinctly breaks down position volunteer and guest volunteer. Just keep in mind that a guest volunteer would be a one-day prayer or maybe a parent helping out at the elementary. Position volunteer is long-term, so they will be interacting with students and will require all the appropriate paperwork. On page 4 of 6, there is a list down there specific to volunteer coaches and advisors, and back when we updated it 2 years ago, back in 2016, we made this pretty relevant and up to date. There has been a couple of additions, and on page 5 of 6, we added a number 11 and 12, where number 11, all volunteers who return from another sport must be approved by the board before open gym begins for that sport. And then number 12, before volunteers can be brought from force for approval, we want that all clearances required CIWA training and all medical tests complete. In addition to that, we did discuss it briefly with Dr. DeTulio, and he's going to work on a volunteer coaches handbook. So we hope to have that to you sometime in the future. Just as we're finishing off this policy, we do have the disclosure statement for volunteers in there, and that requires a fingerprint, or it replaces the fingerprint requirement for volunteers, and they can fill out their certification and submit it. And then also other volunteers, they get free criminal background and child abuse history clearances as well. So that part of it's taken care of. Was there anything you wanted to add, Dr. DeTulio, or is that conversation good?
No, I think you covered it. Like I said, we're starting to work on a new handbook, which I think will help immensely separate out.
Sounds good. Anything else, Mr. Jordan, you'd like to add from? Okay, moving into the next 3 policies, these are all tied into special education. And just keep in mind that we're making some adjustments for the compliance monitoring. And it's going to impact policy 113.1, 113.2, 113.4. Well, there have been no recent changes to the Federal Individuals with Disabilities Act, better known as IDEA, or its implementing regulations or corresponding state law and regulations. There have been updates to the state's compliance monitoring process and minor revisions within the policy. I'll just take a few minutes to update some of the changes that we have in front of you this evening. So in policy 113.1, discipline of students with disabilities. Just keep in mind that the district shall develop and implement positive behavior support plans and programs for students with disabilities who require specific interventions. So the goal here at AC Valley is not just to discipline students. We're trying to do our very best to set up the students for success in a positive behavior program if needed, if they need some extra direction. On page 2, during any period of expulsion or suspension from school for more than 10 days in a cumulative year, it's our responsibility to provide that student with a free and appropriate public education. And that's FAPE, and you've heard us use that terminology in the past. So it's our requirement to ensure that the student is having difficulties and we find a different location and we have to provide them with their education. On page 3 of 6, there's just some terminology changes that outline what's considered a weapon and what's considered serious bodily injury. And then just finishing off on page 4 of 6, there's just a little bit of language change on the top that the district shall ensure compliance with the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act when transmitting copies of the student's special education and disciplinary record. So again, we've got to ensure that confidentiality is important as well. On page 113.2, behavior support, there's a little bit of language change in there as well. They outline what the least restricted environment, LRE, in accordance with the individualized education program, which is the IEP. So we try to get the students within the regular education classrooms when the nature and the severity of the student's disability is such that the education in the regular classroom with the use of appropriate aids and services can be achieved. And the IEP helps that out. Further on down through page 1 of 6, it just breaks down the positive behavior support plan and behavior intervention plans that must be put into place. We don't just automatically refer a student to special education. We have to check off a number of boxes to ensure that the student is in that least restricted environment. We do all this, we're just showing that we're doing it and outlining it in the policy. On page 2 of 6, there's some changes down there with the de-escalation techniques. And just keep in mind that we have 2 teams here at the district, and they're both CPI certified, and that's crisis prevention and intervention. And 80% of that program is to de-escalate and to work with the students. And, you know, there's a little bit if we have to keep the student from harming themselves or somebody else. We are trained in proper techniques to de-escalate the student. But it's really important that we do what we can to de-escalate students and the situations. Seclusion, on the bottom of page 3, they talk about seclusion, and you can, for a very limited amount of time, and it's outlined in here, and that we provide continuous supervision of that student at all times. On page 4 of 6, it talks about a referral to law enforcement, which goes back to the FERPA and educational rights. So a student with a disability who has a positive behavior support plan at the time of the referral, the law enforcement is supposed to be notified of that. If we had a situation that warranted a call to the state police or even our school police, and they're well aware of a lot of our students, we're to share that behavior plan with them so that they can work in accordance and conjunction with us. Just a little bit of terminology change there. And then finishing off just briefly here with 113.4, confidentiality of special education student information, and pretty much it goes hand in hand with everything else I've talked about. On page 5 of 7, it goes into great detail as far as the disclosure of law enforcement, and it talks about writing up the incident and providing the information to the police officers and ensuring confidentiality, and the language is completely changed in that section. And the delegation of responsibilities go back to the director of special education. Work myself up a sweat. I'm not used to this. You Any questions about policy before we move on?
Take time to breathe.
I need a master. Hearing none, we'll move into transportation. On page 3, Lori and Jody, and the whole district put a whole lot of work into this. And Lori, is there anything you'd like to add, or are there any questions? I know we've had the contract out, and last time we did have the contractors here. And we talked about these contracts. We're still pretty comfortable with the information that's in front of us.
Yeah, A through F are the new contracts for the 177 total days. And the pre-COVID number of students that the drivers would have had, which at this point is not drastically off of, where they would be normally. then letter G is just adding Tracy Irwin to the lowest working contracting, as co-contractors. So you did already approve this, they're the exact same contracts, it's just a change in the name of the contractor from lowest working to lowest working / Tracy Irwin. And I guess another mention on A through F, just making sure you understand that part. We are paying them 177 days. I will only be able to turn in 174 days currently if we go to school the rest of this year every day on our state report.
Any questions for Lori or clarification? Thank you, Lori. And then just finishing off, Kelly, we can present our report whenever we move into the vote. So unless there's any questions for me, I'll turn it over to Kelly.
Okay. All right, let's start our meeting with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We can have a moment of silence. Tammy, would you do the roll call, please?
Mary Arbogast. Here. Megan Dreher. Here. Jennifer Fight. Diane Page. Here. Corey Sherman.
Here.
Lena Southworth. Here. Janine Stump. Here. Kelly Terwilliger.
Here.
Mark Patel.
Here.
Okay, are there any additions or corrections for the minutes from the last month's meeting? Would anybody like to make a motion that we approve the minutes? Second? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Doesn't look like we have any public participation tonight. And it doesn't look like we have any presentations tonight. Am I correct, David?
That's correct, Kelly.
Okay. So are there any board concerns? No, Lena? Nobody? Okay, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there anything that you would like removed from the consent agenda to vote on separately? Not seeing anything. Someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, consent agenda passes. Mark, would you do the finance and purchase orders, please?
Yes, I would like to lump letters A, B, C, D, E, F together. Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries.
You've already heard letter G. Letter H, consideration to approve the Focus K-12 SIS Master License Agreement between Focus School Software and the Allegheny Clarion Valley District in the amount of $47,685, a 5-year contract as attached. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? David, does that include, will they do the transfer of the data or?
No, I'm pretty sure they will. They'll be working in conjunction with Jeff. It's pretty much MMS is being taken over, so I'm not sure if it's going to be true transfer of data like we've seen in the past.
There will be.
It is.
Oh, there will be?
They're gonna handle it. We're gonna start sandboxing here within the next couple months to test it out.
Thank you for the clarification. The other piece of this, it works with IP records. So that information will be more current for the updated information that Tim and the group.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Carrie, would you do personnel?
Sure. Consideration to accept the letter of retirement from Carol Cotterman, reading specialist, dated October 5th, 2020. Mrs. Cotterman's last day with the district will be December 22nd, 2020. So moved. Second.
Discussion? We need to probably send her a thank you letter, if we can do that, Tammy. And all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries.
Consideration to advertise for the position of reading specialist. So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. I like your mask over there, Megan. I just noticed.
I want to see it. That's awesome. With the spirit.
That's your Halloween mask. Sorry, Carrie.
That's okay. Consideration to approve the independent contractor agreement between the Allegheny Clarion Valley School District and Sarah Branca for psychological services to assist with testing and report writing as attached. So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to accept the letter of resignation from Jessica Jordan as girls golf coach dated October 12th, 2020 as attached. So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries.
Consideration to advertise for the position of girls golf coach. So moved.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve the request from Wanda Mankulik, cafeteria worker, to take off Monday, November 9th, 2020 as unpaid leave. So moved. Second.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thanks, Gary. Megan, would you do instructional services?
Sure. And Lori, elementary report.
So today was an in-service day and everything went very well. We started the morning with an iReady presentation. It was a new presenter. She was excellent. The teachers were very happy to have her here today. The afternoon afforded me the opportunity to meet with some different teams that I haven't been able to meet with, mainly the STEM team and the PBIS team. So I just wanted to update you on some things we have coming up with each of those groups. The PBIS team did not get to have our traditional kickoff this year, but we are planning a We Are Thankful for Star Behavior Day to take place the Wednesday before Thanksgiving for the students. The activities will all take place in the individual classrooms. Students will be earning compliment feathers to stick on a special guest teacher turkey. Who doesn't know they're being the teacher turkey yet? That teacher turkey will then visit each room at the end of the day to see how many compliment feathers they can collect. We also made some plans for alternative monthly and quarterly rewards that we do through our Starbucks program. Traditionally, those are large group things, like we have dance parties in the cafeteria, or we have a big movie day in the cafeteria, but since that's all out, we had to come up with some other creative things that the kids would find rewarding. So they had some time to come up with those that meet the COVID guidelines. The STEM team has planned an hour of code day for December 1st at the school. And today we also registered our district for family code night that same night, December 1st at 7 o'clock. Our school icon will appear on the National CS is Elementary website for the event. And we'll obviously send more information home about that when we get closer to that date. Also, last year we had a STEM day towards the end of the year, but in preparing for the idea that that might not get to happen, depending what the end of this year looks like, they have come up with a plan B and repurposed STEM day to fit COVID guidelines if necessary. They had a fairy tale theme in mind, and we're going to stick with that. But under the COVID theme, they would create STEM boxes for the classrooms, and then every Friday we would rotate boxes. So the box would be quarantined for a week, and then the next week it would go to a different classroom, kind of like we did the library books. So it would be over the course of several weeks rather than just a STEM day. So we would have STEM day activities on Fridays. They would also culminate in a school-wide activity or challenge that would take place within the classrooms. They're also hoping to continue running their GEMS program. Their hopes have been to run a fall program and a spring program this year. It's an after-school program. GEMS is girls in engineering, math, and sciences. It's a maximum of 16 girls at a time, so they're hopeful that this spring, maybe guidelines will be that we can still have those after-school activities with the GEMS. And just to update on some elementary activities, the Halloween parties will be happening on October 30th. Unfortunately, we will not be able to invite the families to come in and watch the parade as we've done in the past. And we also cannot allow outside treats to be brought in. So to accommodate those, we're working with Mr. Grasha. He's going to order some special treats through our food service vendor. And then the classroom teachers will be able to give the students those treats in their classrooms. We're going to have a miniature trick or treat set up so that students in costumes can go past a live stream and parents can watch the parade from home. We can go a class at a time, socially distanced. We will send information to him on that, and I will need to get with Mr. Kyle to figure out exactly how we're going to do that. We're hoping to start that on October 30th at 1:30. And then if they can't catch it live, the replay would be available on Facebook as well. The Christmas concert will also be virtual this year, and Mrs. Lowry and Mrs. Hedrick have several different ideas on how they want to do that. We have not ironed out all those details yet. That's a little bit more cumbersome. So we are working on that, and we'll send home information once that happens, but just to give families the heads up that that will also be virtual, so you don't need to take the day off work. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Bill, secondary report?
I only have a few items to discuss tonight. Some of them are just upcoming events, things like that. It is important for us to understand that the 28th is the end of the first period of marking for grades, and unbelievable that it's gone by so quickly. We have a blood drive that was scheduled for Monday the 26th, and it's on the district calendar. I want to make sure everybody understands that that has been canceled. In fact, all blood drives this year have been canceled so far unless something drastically changes with the COVID issue. But if you can, please get the word out to everybody. We've made announcements in high school and put it out on our daily announcements that those have been canceled. We have a homecoming dance this Saturday on the 24th. At your seat, I also have a late minute request from the NHS Council, and it's to hold a ceremony that would have been held in the spring to induct 9 new students into the NHS. Time will be from 6 to 8, and it'll be on Wednesday, October 28th. We plan on just providing each student with 2 tickets to be able to give to their parents. Special circumstances will be taken into consideration, and we will socially distance within the auditorium, and it'll just be pretty much a closed ceremony at this point. Maybe we can consider that for a vote after I'm finished. I wanted to also discuss PBIS. At the high school, we've had similar challenges to the elementary. We actually did our kickoff instead of having big groups of students moving through the school. We did it in each of the homerooms, and we did a lot of it through video. So we kind of retaught some of those behaviors that we want to see. We put it on the video. We had a student at the high school that acted out some of those things. Good ways of looking at that behavior, negative ways of looking at that, and then had the teachers discuss with the students, the scenarios about your behavior, whether it's in the cafeteria, in bathrooms, in hallways, those types of things. The expectations for COVID, social distancing has made a lot of things very, very difficult in high school. Particularly, for instance, fundraising. A lot of the things that we normally do that we use as fundraisers during the school day, for instance, Turkey Bowl, we have to rethink every single one of those, and it just makes it so much more difficult. We're still plugging on, we're pushing forward. In fact, the students, instead of getting tickets this year, the teacher actually calls the student out, says, I'm going to give you a ticket, but he doesn't really give the ticket. He just puts the student's name on, and then that teacher submits the ticket to the PBIS, just to keep the amount of hands that touch that actual card so minimal. So it has been difficult, but we hope to keep adapting. We hope to keep pushing forward with it and making progress toward tier 2 and tier 3, which I'll discuss another time with you as board to inform you as to how that works. I do have a couple of athletic updates as well. In case you don't know, the football schedule for this year has been kind of changed a little bit. So this Friday will actually be a playoff game. It'll be October 23rd, Friday at Smethport. The NCAA has come out with a number of guidelines for those games, and for all playoff games, in fact. So the seating is going to be very limited for these events. They will stick strictly to the guidelines as set by the state for outdoor and for indoor participation with spectators, and that may vary depending on the stadium that you go to. The first round for football will be at the higher seed. That's why we're going to Smethport. Every game after that will be played at Brockway for single schools. Those times and dates will be announced. And some of those things are changing because of the uptick in the number of cases for COVID. Volleyball playoffs actually start also. The first round of volleyball playoffs will be October 29th. And again, very, very limited seating for these depending on the size of the gym. $6 for all participants or spectators going into those games as well. More than likely, it'll be mostly adults. Cross-country districts will be Saturday, October 31st in Brookville. And again, limited in number of participants, but being that it's outdoors and it's stretched out across an entire course, they're constantly evaluating that and making changes until we get to that date. Those are the updates that I have. Dr. DeTulio, do you have anything to add?
We did senior night and homecoming this past Friday. It seemed to go off very well, other than trying to get video done, but we made it all happen. Junior high basketball was supposed to start today, so it starts this week. The girls, just a reminder, we are moving all our junior high basketball events to the high school so that we can get some parents in to watch. We did an evaluation down here, and I believe the total we came up with, I think it was 22, Mark, does that sound right? Because of social distancing, so at the high school, we have 78 spectator seats available, which seems to be working pretty well with volleyball. So we're going to keep that format going with basketball. When we come to the varsity basketball season, I have no idea when we get there, if we get there, how we get there. That's starting to be talked about. That's all I have.
Okay. And besides your consideration of my facilities request, that will wrap up my secondary.
All right, federal programs, Mr.
We submitted the final in 1920 federal grant last week on Title IV and Title IIA. Carrie attended a 2-day web training last week, Thursday and Friday of last week. And then David, Carrie, and I met this morning. We're going over the COVID-19 grant, the PCCD COVID-19 grant. We hope to submit it tomorrow. We did receive the money in for that grant this morning. And Carrie kind of briefed us a little bit on what she was trained last week. So that's what we did with the programs.
District report?
Megan, I just have a couple items. There's not much going on at the Capitol because they're closed due to a positive COVID case. But there are 2 bills that we should be watching. And the first one, Senate Bill 1230, Back on Track Education Scholarship Program. Senate Bill 1230 provides no accountability for the scholarship funds that are provided to parents. So it's basically it's got a voucher program that we want to oppose. In conjunction with that, there's a House Bill 2696. This bill is clearly designed to send money to non-public schools, which the majority of Americans and Pennsylvania taxpayers oppose. So just be careful about those two bills when we vote. We also got an email from Matt Stem for a IDEA annual determination. And Matt sent an email and said the purpose of this letter is to advise you that the Pennsylvania Department of Education determined that the status of your local education agency, your LEA, is in compliance with the IDEA Act. So kudos to the Special Education Department, Jen, Anna, and all the teachers. That was a great determination. And then we're starting our winter maintenance and communication. PennDOT sent out an email today. We're having a virtual meeting. It's always been face to face, and we collaborate. We talk about when PennDOT runs the trucks and communication plans and such. It'll be virtual. In conjunction with that, I attended a PASA PSBA school leadership conference this past week, and it was virtual as well. It was pretty good, better than what I expected, but there's nothing like that face to face for this time. Most everything's virtual anymore. And then in closing, we're just talking a little bit, we had an Act 80 day today, and we set it up as a non-stress, self-paced learning activity. So we have some face-to-face learning and then also some online learning. And I'm getting the feedback from the teachers right now, but I think it went quite well. We used the non-ready program, K-12, read and write, and there are some teachers that did some personal work as well. And Megan, that concludes my report.
Thanks, Dave. School police report.
Hi, everyone. I have a short report here for you today. As you know, we're well into the sporting season, and most of our time has been after school, attending those events. We fortunately haven't had any security-related concerns regarding those events. About 98% mask compliance inside, obviously less outside. We've been providing disposable masks and hand sanitizer at those events. But for the most part, everybody's shown up with a mask. So we've only gone through, I think, 2 disposable masks total. Our day-to-day functions are fairly normal considering the COVID environment we're going through. Our monthly stats are really about the same as last month, with about 72 exterior checks, 36 camera checks, and 72 interior building checks. Approximately 180 foot patrols, and we've assisted the administration right about 8 times. So we're very thankful for the smooth sailing we've had so far, and we just hope to continue. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Megan, do you want to make a motion to approve the request that Mr. Jordan had asked about?
We'll make a motion to approve the National Honor Society's request to use the auditorium on Wednesday, October 28th, 2020 from 6 to 8 p.m. For their NHS ceremony. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to policy. Corey, will you do policy?
Sure. Letter A, consideration to approve the second reading of policy number 916, volunteers. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
All right, I'm going to put the next 3 together. So consideration to approve the first reading of policy 113.1, 113.2, and 113.4. So moved.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to facilities. Diane?
We have a business report.
We just done our last month, or this month, our annual lead testing in our buildings. We took 6 random samples at both schools. Results are back. I give them this, and I emailed them to you just now, so you'll for your records. Everything was great. So we are testing water fountains and sinks. We are using the filter systems that the grant money paid for a couple years ago, so those systems are working as they're intended to work. Their annual fire testing today, they're a little behind because of COVID this summer also, and affecting all the certifying all the fire alarm systems in schools. That got done today. We managed the yearly service day. We changed some lighting in the district office, and we started doing some security improvements next year to the buildings. That's all. Thank you.
Good news about the water.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to transportation. Jameen, will you do transportation?
Sure. I suppose I have to do each one of these separately since they have the best numbers. And I love them. I love them. Okay, so transportation. I going to A, B, C, D, E, and F. Those are the bus contractors with each individual bus contracting company. So we're going to lump those all together. So A, consideration to approve the 2021 bus contracts with Walker Busing. B, the best 2020-2021 bus contracts with Bailey Busing. C is with Calendar Transportation. D is with Martha Jane Cook. E is with for Sydney Mailing, and F is with Marcia Pollock. So moved. Second.
Discussion. Not seeing any. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, policy, or excuse me, the motion carries.
So item G, consideration to approve band contracts between the Easy Valley School District and Lois Morton / Tracy Irwin, each dated July 1st, 2020 for the following vehicles: the 2010 Chevrolet Suburban, the 2011 GMC Acadia, the 2014 Dodge Grand Caravan, the 2016 GMC Acadia, and the 2017 Chevrolet Traverse, all is attached. So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Lena, will you do miscellaneous?
Sure. Career summary report.
Not much new. Tracy's still doing a fabulous job up there. She's making building updates and reaching out to get some of the outside cleaned up. And so, nothing big.
Intermediate report. So as I reported last month, the IU 6 board had voted down the hiring of the assistant director of special education and another position. They brought it back to the table the following month, and it passed 8-4, 3 against. My vote was still no, because I thought the money should be used towards the students. So that's pretty much all we really talked about of any importance. So, any correspondence?
I have a thank you note here passed around from the bus drivers.
Technology committee, Kelly.
Yeah, we met on Wednesday. Aaron, help me if I forget things. We were talking about the insurance policies that we had wanted everybody to get before they got a new Chromebook. We've kind of rethought that idea, and we're going to make that optional so that we can still hand out the devices. We kind of came to the conclusion that they are actually needed devices to be able to complete our curriculum. So we didn't want to hinder that happening. However, I would strongly urge that people still do get the insurance, because 22 is there, or 25 is a lot cheaper than what you may pay if the device is damaged.
So if like next week we have to go virtual or whatever, and I get my son's Chromebook, will it give me directions as to how I get that insurance?
I think it's on the website, isn't it,
It's
Aaron?
right on the main page.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the main page of the website. And Aaron has been working, and he has bagged up charging cords for everything in case we need to go virtual with everybody. I think you were giving them out to the teachers, right?
Everybody, at least in the elementary buildings, ready to go.
Okay,
They're RJ and Jeff are good at the high school.
okay.
We're ready to go if we need to.
So they will have those devices. If we have to take everything home, they're gonna be able to charge them.
Do we have the cords? Do we have enough cords? Because I know that
Yes.
you're on back order.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, we have
Some
enough
school
for
districts
everybody.
are freaking out about that right now.
The other thing we talked about, and I know Aaron was gonna look at, being able to set up a virtual desktop. So if we are virtual at home and kids have issues with software or connectivity, The tech staff can remote into those and support them as needed. Sometimes it's hard to support somebody if they aren't explaining things the way you understand it, so that way they can visually see it. And, am I missing anything? I think that pretty much covers it. We talked about new Chromebooks will be coming in and how we're gonna distribute those to get things up to date in each building. That was pretty much it.
Yep.
For the tech committee. We're meeting again in January. So,
Athletic committee, Janine.
Which meeting do you want us to talk about?
last.
Last one, yeah, what? Last one was about tickets for the
It was about senior night and
homecoming.
so that's all worked out.
Yeah, so that's done.
So that one's done.
We talked about what to do with the basketball games,
The same
the same night.
for the varsity, was
Yes,
2 tickets, and then senior night, the seniors got 4
yes,
tickets.
and if we could find another place to have them, but so far, I don't think you've had any luck finding a bigger gym from what
That's
you've
not
done.
what we were.
Yeah, so we were trying to see if one of the universities would let us use their gym, so we can have more people for the varsity basketball games, but, Scott sent out an email today that it doesn't look like anybody's gonna let us do that, so we're back down to the same limitations for basketball as what there is for volleyball, varsity volleyball. Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that was pretty, that's a blur. That was,
So running together.
yeah,
So you'll have 78 seats for basketball games.
yes. Every time we think we come up with a solution, it changes.
And those games will be live streamed?
Yes, yes. In some way, shape, or form.
That we plan to make sure everything's live streamed, whether it's us or somebody else, okay?
Yep. So we can do.
Finance committee,
I'll take that. We met on October 13th at 1 o'clock. We had an agenda that included transportation, budget line items at cyber schools. So transportation, we invited Mrs. Sherman in. She went into great detail for the bus and contract, provided some information to the committee, and then we broke right into the band contract as well. We explained them a little bit more in detail as far as the different costs and potential savings. We just had some brainstorming ideas. In addition to that, Emmy Faust came in and we broke down the budget line items in great detail. We reviewed salaries, social security, retirement, and unemployment. And we took a look at those numbers. And then we finished off the discussion with cyber school. We had last year 27 students out. We spent $608,560 on cyber school costs. My goal this month was to call all of our families that ran outside cyber, and I was able to reach 12 of the 20 of them. And there was 4 families that seemed very interested. It seemed as if the outside cyber school was just so easy and attractive, and they got into there. So they're going to entertain returning back in the new school year. So I'll continue on with that communication, and I'm going to finish off the list. I just ran out of time to get everybody called, but we're moving in the right direction. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done with the finance committee, and that concludes that report.
Okay, any old business? No, new business. I just want to bring up, and I think we're going to talk more about it in depth next month, but I think we need to think about the teasers component of and I don't remember the acronyms, for the federal program that allows for sick time for the COVID issues. That's something we as a board have to decide on. If we're going, the way it is right now, they get, 10 days if they're forced to quarantine, but they would lose 10 days of retirement because unless we vote to pay that. The issue I see with that is we could have teachers in X number of years who need to come to work for 10 days in the fall to be able to retire. Which, I mean, right now, I can see the long-range issues with that. Plus, I just personally don't think it's fair that we're asking people, we're making them be quarantined and take time off, and then they're gonna lose retirement.
Just keep in mind that FSCRA, that's the acronym for it, that's the Family First Coronavirus Response Act. It's only until December 31st.
Right, so far, we haven't really had to use it, correct, or have we had anybody?
We had staff members that chose not to use it.
Okay. But I still think we need to talk about it in case there's an issue. I guess Slippery Rock and South Butler have approved it. They are paying the fees for stuff.
Now, if they take sick days,
If they take their own sick days,
then they're getting paid by us and the county.
right,
Because that's what it's worth at the plant. They tell you to stay home, you can take it for nothing, but they don't have to pay into your thing. And they will not pay you for those 10 days. You can use your sick days, vacation, whatever.
Just keep in mind too, that those 10 days really specifically are aligned with caring for a son and daughter whose school or place of child is closed to the child care provider unavailability. So the other one's caring for an individual who's been subject, you get 2/3 of the pay, and then you get full pay for anybody seeking medical diagnosis for COVID-19 symptoms, anybody advised by a healthcare provider to self-quarantine, and federal, state, and local quarantine or isolation orders. So there's a very small percentage of days and reasons for those days that would impact retirement.
right. But it could impact somebody, so. So I think we're gonna bring that up next month for a vote. You're gonna have that on the agenda. Okay, anything else? Okay, we made our goal.
Good job, Joe.
Back. Do I have a motion for adjournment? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? All
Thank you,
right.
have a great night, stay safe, everybody.
We have the